let's say, his youth ball and minor league ball, the catcher was just continually called for it. And he never really learned how to use that curveball. He's just beginning to learn how to use the curveball. Got to the big leagues and found out that you can't throw the curveball every time to each hitter. You learn how to hit those things up here.
Pete Rose in that on-deck circle really studying Rennie Martin as Lonnie Smith steps in the batter's box. He is 1 for 2. Hits the first pitch, a fly ball to right field. Hurdle should have no problem. He doesn't. He makes the catch, and that ends the inning. Phillies pick up a run. We complete 4 innings of baseball here. The score, Philadelphia Phillies 6, Kansas City 4, and we'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Well, we're back at Veterans Stadium. Joe Garagiola, Tom Seaver, statistician Steve Dans, Tony Kubek. We're going to the 5th. It'll be Hal McRae, George Brett, Willie Mays Aikens to face Bob Walk, who had the rough start, a shot from the blimp. You think that guy who invented the game, whomever it is, and it varies, didn't know what he was doing when he laid out that diamond right there?
You put more frustration into those 90 feet base pass and that 60 foot 6 inches than any man could ever create. I know that. I think if Rip Van Winkle was a baseball fan, he could wake up, come here, and somebody would tell him what the artificial surface was, the high salaries, and nothing would change. The DH, I know, you would say that. Yeah.
Well, it's 6-4. The Phillies lead over the Royals. Kansas City on 2 home runs. One by Otis, one by Aikens, jumped off to a 4-0 lead. McRae, right field, hits it hard. McBride back to the warning track. The ball is carried up against the wall and got it. Ball just kept on going. McBride found that wall and just leans back after he makes the catch. At warning track, a great thing, because your feet, you can feel it. Your feet tells your brain, hey, we're getting close to danger here. Let's get out of here. He had enough room, makes the catch. So now it's George Brett. First inning, he fouled to Schmidt at third, and then he was called out on strikes on a wicked breaking ball from Bob Walk. That was in the 3rd. Kansas City, 4 runs, 5 hits. They've committed 1 error. That by Leonard, a wild pickoff throw. Phillies 6 runs, 6 hits. Brett, fly ball, right center field. Maddox back to the wall again. Oh, no! Fine play by Gary Maddox. He just might be the best in the major leagues, and he might have proved it with that catch.
Walker started Brett out 3 times on fastballs, and it looks like he got that one up from George just a little bit where George couldn't get it all. Maddox, of course, Tony, as you say, an outstanding, if not the most outstanding center field in baseball, makes a beautiful catch.
Well, I think when you watch Maddox and see where he starts from, because he plays relatively shallow, and he was shading Brett about, well, he's about straight away on him, so he had a long way to go to right center field. But there are 2 outs on 2 balls hit fairly well, and now it'll be Willie Mays Aikens, a fly ball and a 2-run home run in the 3rd. They both hit 2 first pitches. It'll be interesting to see what Willie Mays Aikens does. Well, he throws a ball up there that they don't go after, so it's 1 ball, no strikes with 2 outs. Phillies 6, Kansas City 4. We're at the top of the 5th. 2 balls and no strikes to count. You know, World Series time, a great voice, Mal Allen. We got some flashbacks. Mal Allen was going to stir some memories. We've got some beautiful flashbacks that, well, I know you're going to enjoy, because I don't care what ball is hit or what play, it always reminds you of another play. And I know when I was growing up, and I hope Mel appreciates this, it wasn't official as Mal Allen was doing it. How about that? All right. They get a chance to see one when this 3rd out is made. 2 balls, 1 strike, 2 out to Willie Mays Aikens. Breaking ball goes 2-2. Took something off. So Walk has shown a few more off-speed pitches than I thought he might today, even though, and he stuck with it, even though Otis sent one out. He gets some. So Willie Mays Aikens goes down on a curveball or slider. Walk goes out, 6-4. Phillies lead. Let's go.
The score is tied at 4-all. Babe Ruth has pointed to the bleachers in Chicago's Wrigley Field, taunted by the Cubs. Charlie Root pitches. Root swings. There's a drive going to deep center field. Going. It is into the center field bleachers.
Smith McBride against Rennie Martin. World Series records. Babe Ruth #2 behind Mantle with 18. Here's sidekick. Neighbor, Yogi Berra. 2-0. 2 balls, no strikes to Pete Rose. In that Phillies 5-run third that got him back in the ball game, started off peacefully as Trio grounded out. Then Boa single. Ground ball. Washington will have a tough play. A little tricky hop. Long throw. He's got him. 1 out. Well, I want to remind you, Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, games people play. You'll see the World Cannonball Championships, soupy sales and custard pie throwing. Seaver's been on the receiving end of those at times. Something he's no stranger to, skateboard fever strikes. The hottest thing on 4 wheels and more this Thursday on Games People Play. We hope you'll watch right here on NBC. 1 out. Phillies lead 6-4. We're in the bottom of the 5th. Rennie Martin relieved Dennis Leonard. It's Mike Schmidt. He has struck out. He has walked and scored a run. 1 ball. No strike. One thing Schmidt has done, one of his first years in the big leagues, he struck out 180 times. This year he went just over 100 slightly. He appears, Tom, to have moved off the plate a little bit.
Well, definitely this year he's moved off the plate, Tony. And over the last, say, 3 or 4 years, Mike has become very selective at the plate. He used to come up and be hacking at everything. He has become a much more disciplined hitter, and he knows he gets up there and he's a much better hitter if he gets in a situation with 2 balls and no strikes, and he'll let a pitcher get behind him, whereas before he used to go up and just start swinging. But he knows that if he gets that pitcher in the hole and he's so strong and he can be more selective, he's a much more effective hitter. Become a very intelligent hitter in the last 3 or 4 years in the big leagues. Outstanding power. Sitting here right now in a 3-1 situation. He's got a pitcher right where he wants it.
He walks him on a 3-1 pitch, so Schmidt's on with 1 out, and the Phillies leading by 2 over the Kansas City Royals in game #1 of the 1980 World Series. Now it's Bake McBride, and listen to the hand. He hit a 3-run home run in the 3rd. Here's the home run swing the last time up. Leonard looks like he gets the ball out over the plate, and he really goes out after it. You know, the scouting report on McBride is to see that pitch, I guess, is that he's a high ball hitter. That ball was down in the strike zone.
Looked like it was down, Tony, right in the middle of the plate. Looked like a good pitch to hit for him. No, he didn't really get it out, didn't get it in either. Look, it was right out there, a good pitch to hack at.
1 ball, says Harry Wendelstadt, the home plate umpire, to Bake McBride with Schmidt at first base. Till 6, Kansas City 4. The Royals had a 4-run lead. A couple of 2-run home runs by Willie Mays Aikens and Amos Otis. But this man at the plate, Bake McBride, hit a 3-run shot. Amaro, the first base coach for the Phillies, as Aikens holds Schmidt out. 1-0 with 1 out. Crowd in the Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. 1 ball, 1 strike to McBride. Schmidt does not attempt steals often, just 17 times this year, but he's been successful 12 times, being held by Aikens.
And he'll go if he gets that walking lead, Tony. If you let him walk off there where he can get a good start and get going, he'll steal a base. Runs very well for a big man.
1 ball, 1 strike. McBride. Now it's 2-1, and there's a big hole right now with McBride ahead in the count between Frank White, the second baseman, and Willie Mays Aikens, the first baseman. They play McBride about straight away in the outfield, about the same in the infield, but he can slither that ball through the right side with his pitch. He hits it the opposite way. Base hit for McBride. Schmidt will hold at second as Wilson relays the throw home. So, Rennie Martin got behind 2-1. McBride slashed it to left field. 2 on, 1 out, and it's the Bull.
Martin's a breaking ball pitcher and gets behind in a situation. Has to throw a fastball, tries to run the ball away from McBride. He simply punched it in the hole between George Brett and Ewell Washington at short.
Now time will be called, and I'm going to let you talk about this guy because it's one of your dear friends, Billy Connors, the pitching coach, going out, Tom.
Well, you know, he is one of my best friends that I do have in baseball. He worked for the Mets organization. We were teammates when I played for the Mets for a couple of years. Came out of the Cubs organization, has done an outstanding job over here for the Royals this year. His first job here in the big leagues as a pitching coach. And where did he come from? He came from the Phillies minor league system. So he not only is he done a fine job for the Royals over here, knows most of the young Philly pitchers as well.
There's another guy sitting on that Royals bench, 26 years in organized baseball, finally made it to a World Series, Jimmy Schaefer. A lot of bus rides.
So now with 2 men on base, Schmidt is on second, McBride is on first. There's Jimmy Fry on Billy Connors. Lazinski is up. He's 0 for 2, a strikeout and a flyout. The Phillies lead 6-4 the bottom of the 5th. Martin's pitch. Look out, it got the ball. He is not too mobile at the plate, but there's no way anybody's going to get out of the way of that pitch. So the bases are loaded with 1 out, and it's Gary Maddox.
Here's the pitch again. It just sails right in. The Bull just takes, well, he takes it off the side there, about maybe a 28-calorie bite. But it'll be interesting to see now what happens with Maddox, who is a first ball hitter. What will Rennie Martin do?
Well, as Tom said, first ball, fastball hitters, and the fans are getting riled up once again. They're in tight at the corners. Brett Nakins, the middle of the diamond, double play depth. Martin will pitch with a windup. 1 out. Too high, ball 1. The bases are loaded. Maddox facing Rennie Martin. He's grounded out and struck out. Now look, 1 ball, 1 strike. George Brett at third. That was Schmidt, the runner. McBride at second. Lazinski at first for the Phillies. They came back after being down by 4 runs. Bull with a single. Stoll 4 runs behind, rolls hit by a pitch, and the fans got riled up just like this. Good curveball, wicked curveball by Rennie Martin. Tom Martin, we've seen him before. It's now 1 ball, 2 strikes. Cannot get by without getting his curveball over the plate. That one was a bad pitch, but as good as it is, as hard as it is, he'll get guys to swing at that curveball.
Well, he's been mitigating behind people too, Tony, and he's got to get to a situation where he can use that curveball because it is outstanding.
Hit deep to left field, but it is hooking foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out.
That's a curveball as a catcher. I'd go out there and say that was a hanger. It just hung, and he waited for it, and he was going to tee off on it.
I think Rennie Martin already knows that it was a hanger.
Look at that stat right there. Hit 750. Driving in mid from third with less than 2 out. That is outstanding for Maddox. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. The bases loaded. 2-2.
You're pitching right now, Tom. Your curveball's not snapping off. What do you do with the bases loaded?
Well, you got to try and get a ground ball here. You're trying to save the run from third. Very difficult guy really to strike out. Personally, I throw a slider away, but Martin doesn't throw the slider.
Fastball up and in. It was a fastball. He goes to 3-2 as Porter asks for the appeal down to the American League umpire at first base, Bill Kunkel. He says, uh-oh, the count's 3-2, and the crowd's on its feet. 1 out. Fly ball left field. Should score a run. Schmidt is tagging up. Wilson with the throw home. He goes to third. So now the Phillies have the lead 7-4.
Maddox Maddox drives in another run, 7-4. Maddox gets the sacrifice fly. Wilson on a bad arm. There you see Schmidt tagging up. You see, unlike the championship series, he did not leave early.
And you can see the third base coach Lee Elia pointing to McBride. McBride was also tagging up. Had Wilson thrown a rainbow home, McBride would have been on third, or might have tried it. Trio up now. 1 ball, no strikes with 2 outs. Phillies 7, Kansas City 4. We're in the bottom of the 5th. Like the third that started peacefully. Rose went out, and then Schmidt walked. McBride single. Lazinski was hit by pitch. Maddox sacrifice fly RBI. Two and 0 to Trio. Rennie Martin. And he has got to be experiencing some first game, first appearance World Series jitters.
No question, he's got to be a little nervous, Tony. 8 out of 10 hitters that have come up there. First pitch has been ball 1. He's been behind almost everybody. Hasn't been in a situation where he can use his curveball and the hitter can just sit on his pitch.
And he did. He went after a fastball, but popped it up to the right side. A 2-0 pitch, Willie Mays Aikens. So Rennie Martin retires the Phillies, but not after they'd scored 1 more run. So after 5 here at Vet Stadium in game number 1 of the 1980 World Series.
Amos Otis, to be followed by Clint Hurdle. And coming in, the suggestion was the Phillies, as a result of an exhausting series with Houston, would be lethargic and fatigued. Instead, it's the Royals who appear to be playing tentative baseball, and the Phillies were making things happen, leading 7-4. As we start the 6th, Bob Walk looks stronger than ever. He's retired 6 in a row since his teammates gave him a lead to protect. Tony?
All right, thank you, Brian. Porter, Otis, Hurdle, 7-4. The Phillies over Kansas City. The game, and you can never say it about a World Series game or any game, looked like it might get out of hand when the Royals took a 4-run lead. But Boa and Rose triggered it, and then McBride with a 3-run home run got him back in and ahead. 1 ball, no strikes. Porter has walked twice in this ball game. Amos Otis on deck. With all the paraphernalia, pine tar rags, a leaded donut, a leaded bat, towels. Count goes 2-1 to Darrell Porter. Bob Walk. 2 home runs in him so far in the ball game, but he has struggled back. 3-1. Tom, what kind of pitching pattern has he gone to now? It looked like when they scored the runs, and obviously it's got to recharge a pitcher, but he's coming pretty good with fastballs now. Foul, maybe playable. Schmidt, Scott.
Well, Tony, what Brian said when we came into the inning, retired 6 in a row, and really seems to be getting his feet on the ground. Obviously, the runs that the Phillies attacked on the board for him have helped, but he's coming at the Royals with fastballs. Good hard stuff. He's got to throw hard stuff. Here you see Mike Schmidt flagging down Darrell Porter's pop fly. It looked like it was going to go in the stands and came back to him, got it right along the railing. Schmidt, of course, an outstanding defensive player in perfect position. But it looks like Walk's getting his feet on the ground, and the thing that he wants to do now is to make the Royals hit the ball. Make them, if they're going to do something, make them do it. Don't give them a free pass. Don't give them a walk. Control really is the key that he has to have now.
Amos Otis with a home run and a single. 7-4. The Phillies lead over Kansas City. Well, every inning that Walk gives them from here on in is a plus for the Phillies and Dallas Green, and especially that beleaguered pitching staff. They were tired out. You didn't like that word, beleaguered, Joe?
No, I liked it. Tug McGraw has to be looking to get a complete game to get some rest.
1 ball, 1 strike to AO, Amos Otis. There's 1 out. We're in the top of the 6th. Bob Walk, one of only 3 rookies, in case you tuned in late, ever to start a World Series game. Over Cleveland Allender, and Joe Black for the Dodgers in 1952. Fouled out of play by Otis. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Amos Sotos on a home run in that second inning really didn't look like he drove the ball, but once he touched it off, it just seemed to carry. Reached out and almost one-handed it, and Lonnie Smith could do nothing in left field but just watch it go over.
That one-handed follow-through is a trademark of hitters who have been coached by Charlie Lau. He feels you get more extension with it. His prize pupil, of course, George Brett. Outside, 2-2. In fact, Charlie Lau, now the hitting instructor, I often wondered, in fact, the first thing I thought of when I saw that game in Yankee Stadium, when Brett hit the home run off Gossage, Charlie Lau sitting in the Yankee dugout, what went through his mind?
I'll tell you what went through his mind. He wasn't going to play in the World Series. That's what went through his mind.
2-2. Popped up right side. Trio back. McBride calls him off. There are 2 outs. Well, right now, I'll remind you of this. This telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Major League Baseball is prohibited. I almost got through that without making a mistake until I hit express. Did you notice that, Tom? 2 outs. Clint Hurdle, 1 strike with 2 outs. Phil 7, Kansas City 4. We're in the 6th. Hurdle is flied out and single to left. Walk is now retired 8 in a row. We've already told you many times about the rough start he had. 1-1. So many of the Kansas City players and also the American League players were overshadowed by Brett's outstanding year and Jackson's and several others. But here's another guy who very quietly hit 290 plus after they thought after a relatively bad year, his first year when he was so highly touted, he thought he might forever struggle in the minor leagues. 2-1. Did he go? He must have gotten a piece of it because he fouled it off. Harry Wendelstedt wasn't sure. He went down to the third base umpire.
See if we can see it when it sounded like he ticked it.
No, it hit the shin guard. That's what I heard. Yeah. I was going by sound. Went down to the third base umpire, American Leaguer Don Dinkinger. He said, yeah, he didn't check in time. Could be trouble. Bo is right on the 2-2 count. Almost a bad throw by Bo, who's had some arm problems, but Rose scoops it out. So 3 up, 3 down.
You know, when we travel around during the summer, we get asked a lot of questions. Tony Kubek is always asked about a particular play.
Last of the 8th. Bobby Shantz pitches to Bill Burton. A ground ball hit to short. It hits Tony Kubek in the throat. Here's another look at it in slow motion. This play opened the floodgates for the Pirates to go on to win the World Championship.
Don't they ever ask you about the 2 home runs you hit in Milwaukee?
Every time I go to Pittsburgh and many other places, that's what people remember. Larry Boa facing Reddy Martin, the second pitcher. Dennis Leonard had a comfortable 4-0 lead, 2 home runs, but then he lost it. McBride, a 3-run homer, but Boa is the guy who let it on. 1 ball, making 2 strikes now on Larry Boa, but it was Boa in that 3rd inning who singled the center, stole second, surprising everybody, I think. Shook up Leonard and went on to score 5. Popped up behind home plate. Porter with the mask off. Wendelstedt right there. 1 out. 7-4. Phillies over the Royals. We're in the bottom of the 6th. Game 1 of the 1980 World Series. And while we got a chance here as Boone comes in, he's got 2 doubles. It is really a status symbol, Tom, when you have an assistant in the booth, and I think we ought to give a little credit to Paul Moskow, one of the pitchers. That's Steve Dance to the far left. That guy you know. Tom Seaver.
Here he is, there. Put your head out there, Mosky.
What Paul is doing, he is in communication with a man with a radar gun and some observations down behind home plate. They are relayed to Moskow, who's charting pitches, and as the series progresses, as Boone goes 1 ball, no strike, we'll be able to tell you a little bit about pitching patterns, whether or not they change, where a guy might hit the ball.
With a name like his, though, you better say Paul Moskow if you're going to relay anything. You keep saying relaying it to Moscow, we're going to have a hotline number called or something. Paul Moskow.
We missed that this summer, didn't we? 7-4, 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Bob Boone now goes 2 balls and a strike. doubled, and an RBI double in that big 5-run third. Scored. He doubled also in the fourth. Three and one. Martin behind once again.
They play a game here in Philadelphia with attendance, and they got two numbers up there, 67,342 or 65,791. A lot of people here enjoying quite a ball game.
You will not find an empty seat. Boone way ahead. Final stat called strike, 3 and 2. There it is, a very beautiful modern multi-purpose stadium. Back down the off day yesterday, the Philadelphia Eagles in the big second half Sunday. Out, short hop by White. Over to Akins, Boone's down. 2 outs. I'll tell you, the umpires, it's an excellent positioning right there as White throws out Boone. But the second base umpire, Paul Pryor, circled around to get the perfect view to see whether it was trapped or caught on the ball hit to White. There's Pryor. He's had World Series experience. Paul Pryor. He's from the National League. So they finally retire Boone. He's 2 for 3, and it's Lonnie Smith. Smith had a part in that third as he takes a ball from Rennie Martin. He singled, but then he got caught in a rundown between second and third while he was being retired. Boone is the guy who scored. Fouled out a play by Smith, 1 and 1. This man has tremendous speed. In fact, he'll get some votes for Rookie of the Year, I believe, Tom.
He had an outstanding year, and tremendous speed on the bases. Something that really makes the Philly club go. You put Rose behind him, and then you got the Bombers, 2 Bombers, Luzinski and Schmidt. Luzinski coming up after him. Looks like Dallas Green loves him. He's a fine, outstanding prospect. Should have a fine career.
Chop, Brett behind the bag. He almost lost it. He double clutches. Lonnie Smith's speed as Brett did not have control of the ball. And we just saw the speed of Smith.
It really emphasizes the importance of speed, and not only offensively and defensively, but here in the offensive situation, one little bobble by Brett, a guy like Lonnie Smith with his speed, it becomes no contest. Brett might have a shot at him if he can get the ball cleanly out of his glove and get it away quickly with a good strong throw, but he bobbled it just for a second, and that could be the difference over at first base.
We've got time being called right now, some debris out there in left field, so Willie Wilson is going to retrieve it.
Here is that inning after Boa had single stop.
Yankees were in the playoffs. The double play throw from Bill Russell going to first base. Reggie Stern turning right into the ball. Looked like he turned into the ball. No way. I think that Pete tried to get out of the way of that pitch.
And they are very conscious of the man at first base, Lonnie Smith, and with Rose, the left-hander, protecting him, he's going to be going sooner or later. Phillies 7, Kansas City 4. Snap throw. Here's Romaro after a couple of, he's the coach, after a couple of throws over home, he calls timeout often, talks to Lonnie Smith, and he picks up a move or a pitch out. He stole 33 bases. He's gone. The throw from Porter. UL Washington makes the tag. He's out. Well, he was 33 for 46 in the regular season, but not today, as it's a 3-up, 3-down inning after Smith single. He was thrown out. Rose protecting him.
Porter, just a classic throw. He really gets into it and gives the infielder UL Washington a good ball to handle, and that's it.
After 6, Phillies 7, Kansas City 4, and we'll be back after these messages from your local station.
Tom Seaver here in Philadelphia, where the Phillies are leading by the score of 7-4. We're in the top half of the 7th inning, and it'll be Frank White and UL Washington and Willie Wilson for Kansas City. There's the strike. Walk has really been tough. 9 men in a row. Frank White fly to right and bounced out. Base hit up the middle, and there goes the streak that Walk had going, and White is on.
Here it is. It didn't take Frank White long to jump over Walk and break the 9 consecutive retired streak. I'll tell you, that follow through was not a good one, but it might have saved him from taking one off the kneecap or shin, because that ball was really drilled.
So White is on, and here is UL Washington. 65,791 here in the ballpark. the attendance, the largest World Series crowd since the 4th game in the 1964 World Series. It's low ball 1. Has to be the largest crowd ever in Pennsylvania for a baseball game. 1 ball, no strikes. There's a shot of it. And tomorrow night, Carlton against Gura. Bullpen for the Phillies gets busy. Foul out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here's Saucier, left-hander. Kevin Saucier.
That's Tug McGraw sitting right behind him. He'd like the day off, I gotta believe, Tom.
No question he'd like the day off. Worked very hard in that championship series. Very hard down the last month of the season or so. Really is a fella that came on in the last half of the season, saved it for the Philadelphia Phillies. Hadn't been for Tug, you can say it for a lot of people in that ball club, but at the end of the season, had not been for Tug, they wouldn't be here.
Line drive, left field. Lonnie Smith played it perfectly. UL Washington is out number 1 in the 7th inning. The ball was hit hard, but defensed well.
That's what the charts are all about. They got him positioned perfectly, hit well, as you said, Joe, but on the first step, once again, Lonnie Smith fell and almost went to the turf.
Willie Wilson, the batter, he's 0 for 3. He struck out in the 1st inning. He bounced out 2nd, the 1st, and the 3rd. He was out 3rd, the 1st, and the 4th. Really taking a good look at his 3rd base coach, McKenzie. It's a 7-4 score. Philadelphia's out in front. It's a strike. He'd be bunting for the base hit. No sacrifice here.
He is not yet a proficient bunter. If he ever gets that down, can you imagine what he'll do with about 230 base hits this year?
People down there talking, Tony said if he could learn to bunt, very difficult to bunt, I grant you, on AstroTurf. But if he could learn to bunt, they say he'd hit at least 350.
This is a strike. Every time I hear that, it just reminds me like if a guy would say if Sinatra could only learn how to sing opera. And here's a guy with the years that he's had if he learned how to bunt.
Been switch hitting just 3 years. There's White being held by Rose. And it was Chuck Hiller, who was a coach for Herzog of Kansas City, who really worked with Willie Wilson.
Outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. He just convinced him that all you have to do is hit the ball down, hope it bounces twice, you got yourself a base hit. He's a cut and slash guy. He only walked 28 times this season, so it's hard to give him a base on balls. Here's a 1-2 pitch. There goes the runner. It's low and inside. Booney can't make the play, and White is on at 2nd base. Stolen base. 7-4 is the score. Phillies are out in front. We're in the 7th. 1 man out. 2-2 the count on Willie Wilson, and now they switch sides. There you see it.
Well, the Royals have 6 men in their starting lineup today who are base stealers, and you just saw White do something. Tough play for Boone. White did something about like Boa, because they're down 3, but that's one of the ways this game has changed. For artificial surface, you build your team for speed.
Down the left field line, Lonnie Smith is there. He's going to make the play. He does. So Wilson is out. White remains at 2nd. They're 2 away. The batter is Hal McRae, who walked in the 1st inning. He singled and scored in the 3rd, and he flied to right. Tom, while we got a chance here, we saw Paul Moskow. What are you 2 guys doing over there?
What we're doing, Joe, really kind of keep track of all the pitching, and Paul doing some of the stat work for me to find out how these guys are working, like walking, coming out here in the 7th inning. Now, through the first 6 innings, there's only been 1 hitter that he started him off with a curveball. That was Hal McRae. He's the only hitter in the entire lineup all the way through into the 7th inning that he started off somebody with a curveball. It's Hal McRae. And here we are. Everybody else has either been good hard fastball or hard slider. Now, those hitters on the Royal bench have to know that that's what they're going to get the first pitch. They're going to get a good fastball, hard fastball, good slider every time they go up there.
Moskow is actually charting like he would if he were pitching tomorrow. Curveball misses. Is that about what he's doing, Tom?
Almost exactly the way, let's say, he'd be pitching what is a normal procedure. The pitcher that would be pitching the following day would be keeping the chart on the bench for the pitching coach and for the pitcher that is pitching today, and for reference for future times that you pitch.
1 ball, 1 strike on McRae. He takes it low. 2 balls and a strike. 2 outs, 7-4, 7th inning. Frank White is on at second base.
Bob Walk, a non-roster pitcher this spring.
High hopper, Mike Schmidt is going to go to first base. There's a throw. That ends the inning. End of 7. Philadelphia 7, Kansas City 4. We talked about Reggie Jackson using body English. Remember 1977? Let's have a fall classic flashback. Pete Rose in the bottom half of the 7th inning. The Phillies are out in front by 3. 7-4 is the score. George Brett calling a foul ball. They call it a foul ball.
I'll tell you, both umpires hesitated a little bit right there, Joe.
Yes, they did. Wendelstedt was waiting for Denkinger and finding the teamwork really meshed, because that's what you don't want is a double decision.
Here it is, check swing. Wendelstedt is waiting to see where it goes. It's his call before it gets to the bag. Third base afterwards. And Wendelstedt made the call right there. Boy, I'll tell you one thing. They waited and made sure, and that was so important in that call.
The umpire's nightmare is to have one guy call it safe and the other one call it out, or call it fair, or call it foul, get that double decision. You wake up talking to yourself.
Isn't that a classic picture? And I've forgotten who the umpire was. Sliding into second base. 2 umpires converge on the base. One with a safe sign and one with a hand raised for the out.
Yeah. Outside. No, says Wendelstedt.
We're all getting Luciano over here. I don't think he likes us anymore.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Pete Rose. Rose 0 for 2. Hit by a pitch, came around to score, and then 5-run third. Bouncing ball to UL Washington. 1 out. One away, and it brings up Mike Schmidt. Schmidt struck out in the first. He walked and scored. He scored when McBride hit that home run, a 3-run homer. And Schmidt walked and scored in the 5th. Sacrifice fly by Maddox.
Tom, you've talked a little bit about a Kansas City Royals staff with pitch a Schmidt. How do you pitch a Schmidt?
Well, again, Tony, it depends on how you're throwing. You know, I know he's become much more selective over the years. If you're throwing well, personally, if I'm throwing well, try and throw him hard stuff in. Any big home run hitter, you don't want him to let him extend his arms. Now, I haven't faced him since he's moved off the plate as far as he is. This is going to be new for me when I pitch against him next year. Because when I faced him, he was up closer to the plate, the way he has been throughout his career.
Striding into the ball more now.
Going into the ball more. I would throw him, what I try to do is try and throw him hard stuff in. You know he's going to kill your mistake. He's an outstanding mistake hitter. If you hang a pitch, get a pitch where he can drive it, he is not going to miss it. He's that kind of an outstanding pitch. And you can see how selective he's been. He's already got 2 walks today. But I personally try and throw hard stuff in, run it in toward the small part of that bat, run sliders away, keep the ball down. Don't give him the pitch out over the plate to drive.
2 balls and 1 strike. And there's a foul ball. That's out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes, 1 man out.
When a hitter moves off the plate, and again I refer to Charlie Lau, it gives you a split second longer as you watch the replay as Schmidt fouls it off. He's going the opposite way a little bit more, but it gives you that split second longer to wait on the ball.
Well, that was a great replay too, Tony. You can see the extension of his arms, and Mike is a huge man. I mean, he can hit the ball out very easily to right center, right field.
Curveball bounces low. 3-2 the count. 1 out. Nobody on. 7-4. Philadelphia leading. We're in the bottom half of the 7th inning. It's quite a stat that we just saw.
He broke Eddie Matthews' record for third base. Eddie had 47.
3-2 pitch. That's fouled out of play. Tomorrow night, Steve Carlton against Larry Gura. In this game that Bob Walk has given Dallas Green, I'll tell you, it's almost like just a big shot in the arm. is everybody talking about the pitching staff and how they had to battle the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Montreal Expos to win it, and how they battled Houston. Now here, trying to give Carlton an extra day's rest, and they're 3 runs ahead in the 7th. Brett to his left, can't get it. Washington deep in the hole, no way. And Mike Schmidt, for some reason, stopped. And then he went through. He almost got thrown out on that. He thought that ball was in left field.
He thought Ruben Amaro was giving him the take-her-easy stone. You can see him right now, or he may have thought he said, round the bag, it's through, but that'll give you the idea of the aggressiveness of the Kansas City infielders. Here's our left center field camera. Right there, Schmidt thought, or just after he goes out of the picture, he thought Amaro's saying round it, it's in left field. UL Washington showed his speed and quickness by stopping it from going to left.
Ball just got by George Brett. Strong arm. Washington, of course, not seeing him play very often. Outstanding strong arm. Mike looked like he got with his hand in a cookie jar when he got about 10 feet from first base, didn't he?
Your guy in Cincinnati, though, Concepcion, has that play where he bounces it on the artificial surface and it picks up speed, which is a good play.
I'm not sure it's the quickest way to get a throw over there.
I tell you, the games we saw him, it worked. Strike 1. I'm not going to argue with you. Today's Columbus Day.
No, that was...
I don't argue on my holidays.
2 days ago.
One reason might be that David Concepcion's out in Los Angeles with about a 10-inch scar on his elbow. He just had some bone chips taken out of that elbow. That might be one reason he's been doing that, too.
Pitch out, nothing going on. You know, mentioning Houston, and maybe we waited a bit too long, but certainly congratulations to Bill Burton and that Houston ball club. What a tremendous, tremendous season they had.
And doggone it, I heard Gossage, whether he was misquoted or not, say the whole season was wasted. Baloney. The year he had, you don't waste a season like that, not with one pitch.
The Houston Astros battling all the way. Tragedy. Lost J.R. Richards, Cedeno, and kept battling. The Yankees, what a year they had. Just a tremendous year for baseball. These Kansas City Royals, they just kind of laid in the bushes, and when it came time to play, they played. They were 20 games in front in August. Swept the Yankees 3, but it's a good season. Our congratulations to Houston, New York, certainly here. Line drive, base hit. Mike Schmidt stops at second. Whoops, get back there.
That's a play that a lot of right fielders and shortstops are pulling now, where the shortstop will fade back in the cutoff position between third and second, and the right field will throw for the second base bag. Washington come up, breaking ball up in the strike zone, Tom, a little bit out over the plate. Boy, when he hits the ball with that chopping downswing, it just takes off. He fools a lot of outfielders with balls he hits.
Greg Luzinski, the batter. That's the third base hit for Big McBride, who's had a big night. A 3-run homer, the single in the 5th, the single in the 7th. He's 3 for 4. Luzinski's 0 for 2, last time hit by a pitch. The score 7-4. Philadelphia's out in front. We're in the bottom of the 7th. High ball 1. It's 1 man out. Mike Schmidt at second. Big McBride is on at first. Luzinski, the designated hitter. Misses. 2-0.
Luzinski's first shot at the DH. You wonder what he's doing underneath or in the dugout. Heard him say to Billy DeMars, he said, I may go to the batting cage between at bats and hit a few balls in the batting cage.
There's his strike. Hal McRae as a DH, he has made a science out of it. It's not as easy as it sounds, because you got to stay in that ball game when you're not in the ball game. Kansas City bullpen action. Luzinski with the count of 2 balls and 2 strikes, 1 out. Phillies leading 7-4, bottom of the 7th. Good fastball. Luzinski is out on strike, so there are 2 away. Schmidt remains at second, McBride at first.
Rennie Martin, who we talked about being a curveball pitcher, simply throwing a fastball right by Greg Luzinski, who's not too shabby a fastball hitter, but he's keeping the ball away from him. There's the action. Marty Patton in the Kansas City bullpen. Martin did a very good job that time keeping the ball on the outside half of the plate to Luzinski, pitching very tough with 2 men on base. Another tough hitter, Gary Maddox.
First pitch, he hits a high fly ball center field. Otis is there. Otis makes the play, and that ends the inning. So at the end of 7 complete innings of baseball here, it's the Philadelphia Phillies 7, Kansas City 4.
Steve Carlton tomorrow as they start the 8th. That is not a pleasant thought for the Kansas City Royals, Joe.
Okay, Brian, we've got a new left fielder for the Philadelphia Phillies. Greg Gross has gone into play for Philadelphia. Fastball is high. And it's high. 2 balls, no strikes. He had a cut. He didn't get it. 2 balls, 1 strike. 7-4. Philadelphia leading 8th inning. George Brett. 0 for 3. There's the strike. 2-2. George Brett, who just captured All-America as he's chased 400. Here's the pitch again, a good fastball.
We gave him a good steady diet of hard stuff, Joe. All 3 times up, hard stuff in. That pitch, a sailing fastball away. George looked like he thought it was a ball, but Walker's thrown extremely well.
He lines one in the left center field. That's a base hit. It'll be extra bases for Brett all the way to the wall. He's digging hard. He stops at second. He's got himself a double.
They went to an off-speed pitch, Tom, didn't they?
You know, Tony, you're just talking about exactly what we were talking about. He's been very successful with Brett all night. Popped him out to third base, struck him out. There's Tug McGraw in the Philly bullpen, and I know that Dallas Green doesn't want to see that unless it saves a ball game for it. Popped him up to center field on hard stuff. Hard stuff got him 2 strikes on an outstanding hitter, throw a high changeup to him when he's been successful with his hard stuff getting him out.
Herm Charette is coming out now. Why would he do it? Why wouldn't he shake him off? Is it because he's a rookie, or?
I got to wonder this, Joe. Is it the theory that we heard Billy Martin talk about during the championship series? Oakland was more successful than any team in the American League against Brett, and they continually changed their patterns. They didn't stay one way.
Starrett out there having a meeting with Young Walk. Let's pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
WMAQ-TV, Chicago.
So George Brett is on at second base. It's a 7-4 ball game. Philadelphia's out in front. Willie Mays Aikens is the batter. Tug McGraw continues to throw. And they were hoping that they would just let him kind of rest out there, but now they got a chance to win a ball game, and they're going to pull some stops, and McGraw is one of them. Fastball outside, ball 1.
Well, Tug's the guy that was too tired. In fact, he didn't want to pitch in game number 5 unless he had to, and he had to. Pitched in all 5 of the championship series.
That ball gets away from Boone, almost into the dugout, but Brett moves on over to third.
All right, Tom, could that be a sign of tiring? Tried to overthrow, looked like a breaking ball, or was it a fastball?
I couldn't really tell on that, and from this replay we can't tell, Tony, but down that part of the plate, it's either a slider, obviously, or a fastball. Can't really tell. Here's another good shot, our center fielder's shot. Center field shot, fastball right down the dirt. Could be that he's trying to overthrow a little bit here, or it could be a sign of fatigue. Obviously, that's what Herm Starrett was talking about Boone about.
Deep to right field. McBride is going back. This ball may be out of here. Home run, Willie Mays Aikens. His second home run of the ball game. And if he's not tired, he's going to be tired after that shot. Willie Mays Aikens really into a trot, just now getting to second base. It's a 7-5 ball game. 7-6. Willie Mays Aikens, and he's in this crowd. Here's the swing.
We talked about it earlier in the broadcast, about it hitting behind George Brett, still getting 98 RBIs. Another fastball. Home run earlier that he hit was a fastball. That was a fastball. Inside half the plate, spun on it very well and hit it extremely well. There's Dallas Green going back to the mound. And Bob Walk, I think, has had enough. Good shot of Willie Mays Aikens in the Royals dugout.
I'll tell you, he's going for records as far as watching the home runs. We've seen Reggie Jackson do it in the fall so very often when he knows it's gone, and Aikens is coming close to Reg.
And we're going to have a break in the action. A nice hand for Bob Walk. The score here is 7-6. Philadelphia out in front, nobody out. We'll be right back after these messages.
Look at yourself, sitting there watching other people play games, while your once hard body grows softer, and another weekend goes down the tube. We say, come on, stop spectating and get in the game. We're AMF. We make what it takes to renovate the body and raise the spirit. We make quality products, Voight balls, Ben Hogan golf equipment, Harley-Davidson motorcycles. AMF, we make weekends.
You take 1,000 hearts up here with you. Make them skip a beat. Then take them back down to Miller time. Time for the best tasting beer you can find. America's quality beer.
When it's time to relax,
Miller High Life.
one beer stands clear. If you've got time, we've got the beer.
Reaching your financial goal is never as simple as some people would have you believe. You have to know exactly where you're going and make the right decisions at the right time. At Merrill Lynch, it's our skill at guiding you through the intricacies of investing that makes us what we are. Merrill Lynch, a breed apart.
On NBC. Did give the Phillies 7 tough innings. Tug McGraw loosening up, and Thursday night, 8 o'clock Eastern time, it's games people play. Cannonball, the World Cannonball Championship. Those are not just ordinary Cannonball Championships. That's the world. And Soupy Sales and custard pie throwing. He picks his pies to throw. You'll see that. Skateboard fever strikes. Hottest thing on 4 wheels and more. That's Thursday on Games People Play. Yes, sir. That's what I want. The World Cannonball.
Yeah, do the whole thing again. I liked it so much.
Joe Garagiola with Tony Kupak, Tom Seaver, Paul Moskow, Brian Gumbel, Ron Luciano, Merrill Harmon. We got more broadcasters than the Yankees got coaches, but we got quite a ball game. 7 runs, 10 hits, and no errors for the Phillies. 6 runs, 8 hits, and 1 error for Kansas City. There are nobody out, nobody on, and the batter is Darrell Porter. A 1-run ball game, Tug McGraw in relief. A 1-run game. Fastball is inside, ball 1.
You'll not see too often a manager in the first game of the World Series go along as he did with Bob Walk, give up 6 runs. And this is the man they wanted to save, Tom, if they could.
Well, this is the guy that really brought him the pennant, I tell you, Tug McGraw. Got fastball, curveball, slider, changeup, screwball, and he can throw them anyone at any time. Has tremendous command of every one of his pitches and a real battler.
High fly ball, left field. Gross makes the play. 1 out.
Tom, we saw McGraw late in the season up in Montreal, and he got up there and struck out 5 of 6, and he did a lot of it with his fastball. I mean, they started looking for the screwball, I think, a little bit. Started looking for the off-speed stuff, and he just was blowing the ball by guys.
He can fool you, little guy. I was reading the press guide up here in my room last night. It has Tug as 6 feet, 184 pounds. I'm going to have a little discussion with Tug about that tomorrow. Now, he's not 6 feet. Tugger and I played together for about, I don't know, 5 or 6 years in New York, world champion team in 1969. And I bet you I get a half-hour dissertation about how he is 6 feet tomorrow, too. Tug is an effervescent personality. He'll talk about anything. He's got a line for everything. He's got a name for every one of his pitches. Calls one of his fastballs a Peggy Lee fastball. Is that all there is? He's a real character and a real personality on that ball club. Great sense of humor.
1 strike to count. Got got a pinch hitter coming out in the on-deck circle. Otis doesn't get it, and it's strike 2. There he is, John Wathan, coming in to bat against McGraw. He'll be batting for Hurdle.
I've heard hitters talk about batting against McGraw a little bit this season. They say his screwball is not moving as much, but the change of speeds is fooling guys more. And it happened to Mike Cuellar with Baltimore the last couple of years. He lost his screwball, but the hitters continued to look for it, and he got him out with fastballs and sliders. Sometimes hitters get something imprinted on their mind and they can't shake it.
Otis fouls it off. He had a good cut. Cut remains a strike 2. It's a one-run ball game, and should the Phillies lose this game, it's going to really be a real stinger, not only because they lost it, but they used a man they did not want to use.
I wouldn't bet against McGraw, even though he might be a little tired.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if you win, you're not going to be tired. But if you lose, he might be a little more tired the next day because he lost. Defeats have a way of really making you tired.
Hypothetically, Joe, right, if they lose. But I think one thing that Dallas Green has in the back of his mind, he's got his big boy, his big left-hander going out there for him tomorrow, and he knows almost for certain he's going to get 8 or maybe even 9 good innings out of Steve Carlton, who has been his, he's been his workhorse all year long. 24-game winner.
24-9. 1 ball and 2 strikes now. The count on Otis. Outside. Tug McGraw appeared in 5 playoff games. 1 save. 4.50 earned run average. Pitched 8 innings. He was coming in. 2-2 the count. Otis. Low. 3-2. 7-6 is the score. Philadelphia's out in front. We're in the 8th. 1 man out. 2 runs are in. A home run by Willie Mays Aikens. His second of the night. He has driven in 4 runs. He's had a big night. Otis had a 2-run homer. Kansas City, all their runs scoring on home runs.
This is a hitter situation, obviously, Joe, a 3-2 count. But as you can see, Bob Boo behind the plate called for a fastball. Tug shook it off, and now he wants to throw the screwball. Even 3-2.
And he's lined to left field. That's a base hit. The tying run is on. Otis has 3 base hits. 2-run homer in the second, a single in the third, and now a single here in the 8th.
I was surprised to hear you say that. Here we look at it from our left center field camera, the base hit. Do you consider a 3-2 situation a hitter situation, or do you have the edge?
For most pitchers, it's a hitter situation.
Not
most,
for you, though,
huh?
Not for you, though, Ken.
You talking about me first?
Yeah, so
well,
I'm talking
about for most. I'm not talking about for Tug, because in the 3-2 situation, that was a situation where Amos Otis couldn't sit on 1 pitch because Tug's got 4 pitches he can throw. No question about it. But for the majority of pitchers, you get to the 3-2 situation, you got a pretty good chance of knowing what the pitch is coming.
Otis can run. Tying run. Bouncing ball. Boa has it. 1 out. Double play. Manny Trio, strong arm, made that play. What a pivot, Tony.
He is so quick and so strong. He generates more arm speed very quickly. A breaking ball down that Watson pounds in the turf. Boa bare hands it, shows the ball, and look at that flip from down under Lowbridge, the runner, and he had a lot in the throw. We saw that in the championship series game on a relay.
So we go into the bottom half of the 8th inning. Look at this flip. A lot on it. The score, Philadelphia 7, Kansas City 6. 1,791, Manny Trio doesn't get a strike 1.
Joe, as we watch this series progress, I think it's important for our fans to realize the trio up. I think it's important that the 4 guys in the middle of the diamond on both teams, Washington, White, Trio, finish after this.
High fly ball. Wathan, who stays in the ball game, hauls it in. There's 1 away.
Trio, and I'll add Boa of the Phillies, are not just out there because they're good defensive players. They can give you the speed on the base pass to steal a base, some extra base punch, as White showed with a home run in the championship series against the Yankees. So they're run producers to a degree, too. Not just defensive men.
Boa got it going. He and Pete Rose, the catalyst in that big 5-run inning. Boa with a base hit, stole a base. He takes it high, ball 1. Kansas City jumped out to a 2-run lead in the second. A 2-run homer by Otis. A 2-run homer by Akins. It was 4-0. Boa pulls it foul on the first base line.
Now, when Boa stole that base is the thing to me that really stands out, Joe. Down by 4 to Leonard, and he shook him up.
Stole the base, and then Pete Rose was hit by a pitch. Smith had a base hit. It was a walk and a home run by McBride, a 3-run homer. He scored 5, 1 in the 4th and 1 in the 5th. Frank White has it. Easy out, 2 away. Here's Bob Boone. Boone doubled and drove in a run, later scored in the 3rd. He doubled to drive in another run in the 4th, then he bounced out. 2nd, the 1st, and the 6th. Bob Boone, 2 for 3. I'll tell you, he's played hurt a lot. He's not complained. He's just gone out there, as they say, and loaded the wagon. Curveball is high, ball 1.
I think aside from the injuries that he had, the severe strain on guys like Boone and Tom and everybody else who would play a representative during the work problems baseball this year, it had to be a tremendous strain on his mind, Tom, trying to play through that.
Well, he's very active.
All the meetings.
Very active in that, Tony, yes.
League representative, isn't he?
And really digs into it, yes. He's represents the National League extremely well.
Like
very well versed on it, no question about it, and does a tremendous job for all the players in that situation.
See, he and Sal Banda will represent the players, and Frank Cashin and Harry Dalton ownership, along with Marvin Miller, Ray Greeby. When they start talking once again, they've had a couple of meetings on free agency and what's going to happen.
2 balls and 1 strike, 2 outs. Bob Boone, 7-6, Philadelphia in front. There's a strike on the outside corner. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Nobody on. Boone, a foul ball. Just barely foul. The first base umpire, Bill Kunkel, raised his hands. There you see him.
Very quietly, Rennie Martin. He's been in, this is the 2nd World Series. Bill Kunkel, former American League pitcher, Yankees, Kansas City. But Rennie Martin very quietly has just kind of held his team in this ball game, Tom.
Came in and didn't really do a terrific job, was getting behind people, etc. But it seems, you know, the more time he's been in here, the calmer he's gotten, the more he's gotten his feet on the ground, same way that Walk did, no question about it.
2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs. Hot smash in the right field. And Bob Boone is on. That's his 3rd base hit of the night.
He was really limping down to first base on that ankle we've talked about, and now 2 outs he's on. And look at Booney. He's at 2 balls down in that area. Jimmy Fry's coming out as we're showing this replay to you. There's the new right fielder. We told you that earlier. Watson pinch hit, stayed in the game.
He's going to make a pitching change. Marty Patton has been throwing for Kansas City. So we're going to have a break in the action, and we'll be right back after these messages. He's really had a year.
Well, he had the kind of year that people dream about, Joe, no question about it. Quisenberry, 6'2", 180, just 26 years old. 12-7 this year with a 3.09 ERA, 33 saves. 128 innings pitched and gave up 129 hits, and tremendous ability to come in, throw that ground ball, get the double play. They say he's just been absolutely phenomenal for the Royals this year.
He doesn't walk many, nor does he strike out many. You see his delivery. In fact, this year he dropped down a little bit lower, and that is part of the instruction of Kent Tekulve, the fine Pirate reliever. He's also come up with a pretty good forkball.
I mentioned Goose Gossage a moment ago. The 33 saves that Quisenberry has tied him with Gossage for most of the American League. Greg Gross will be batting against Quisenberry. 2 men out. 8th inning, 7-6. Philadelphia leading. Boone is on at first base. This is strike. Held it knocker through like that. Frank Laga. Remember that as we look at Bob Boone.
He's Abernathy. He's not down as low. Do you think it's Abernathy and Dick Hyde and some of those guys? Do you think
he's pretty low?
Yeah, he sure is. He's come pretty low.
Going to be a tough play. UL's only play to first base. It is in time. They get him. Beautiful play by UL Washington, who has really been some shortstop. So that ends the inning at the end of 8 innings. As we look at Tug McGraw, the score here, Philadelphia 7, Kansas City 6. And due up in the 9th inning for Kansas City, Frank White, UL Washington, and Willie Wilson. Wrong time. Jim Fry, he's got to get the lumber going and get some runs, but you know, talking to Ken Harrelson once, he said baseball is the only sport that when you're on offense, the other team controls the ball. And that's quite a thought. Royals are on offense. They need a run, but the Phillies control the ball, and that's the battle we have here. 7-6, top of the 9th. Frank White, who is 1 for 3, leads it off. Fouls it back. Well, due to the length of tonight's game, local news and a Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson will be seen after the game on the West Coast and most Mountain Time Zone stations. These programs will be seen at their regular time.
Schmidt just behind the bag, and he's creeping in because White with speed can bunt. Rose has got to be alert. Also, both corners protected down the line. This one-run ball game by the 3rd and 1st.
Popped up out of play. And McGraw with a screwball is quickly ahead. A 2-strike count.
Well, they've posted on one of the scoreboards here in Veterans Stadium tomorrow's pitchers. Game 2, Gura versus Lefty. That's all they say around here in the town.
And they say Lefty. The people in Philadelphia know exactly who it is. Steve Carlton.
Mike Schmidt, big hop, long throw. 1 out. The Phillies are 41 and 41 at home.
A little trickier than look because he was up close and the ball hit the dirt, almost handcuffed him. That's the only time you get a bad hop on this surface. Well, you might hit a seam in the turf, but from turf to dirt. Here it is again.
Good example, Tony, of what you talk about in this situation, guarding the line, preventing the double. You know, if Mike is over in regular position, that might be a very difficult play for him.
Especially with White speed.
Here's UL Washington, batting right-handed against McGraw. This crowd, they want 2 more outs. Dallas Green started a youngster. Walk, trying to buy some time. He's 2 outs away from making some buy. Screwball misses, ball 1. Royals with 3 home runs, all 2-run homers. 2 by Willie Mays Aikens, 1 by Amos Otis. Fake McBride, a 3-run homer, a 5-run 3rd inning, a big one. Outside, 2-0. Tug McGraw. (7-6). Philadelphia leading. 1 out in the 9th.
UL Washington, excuse me, Joe. UL Washington with a little more punch right-handed. That's his natural side.
Out of play. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Tug McGraw, Joe, using every pitch that he has in his book. And he has the confidence to throw any one of those pitches. 20 saves this year for the Phillies. Has 164 saves lifetime.
UL Washington, 5 home runs from the right side, 1 from the left side this year. Off-speed stuff, didn't he?
Exactly a point you made earlier, Tony. Showing so many pitches, showing the curveball, showing the slider, showing the screwball. They can't sit in any one pitch, and all of a sudden, Tuggy pops that fastball right through the middle of the plate. And there's no question he's looking for an off-speed pitch, a breaking pitch, something other than the fastball.
Gary Maddox has just moved way over to right center field now. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Listen to the crowd. They'll tell you. 3-2 is the count.
That's a great shot from the center field camera. You can see Booney giving the signal. Here the pitch again. A screwball. You saw Booney wiggle the fingers for the off-speed screwball pitch. The bat didn't go. Good call by Harry Windlestead.
Good movement on that one.
Excellent movement on that pitch. Now the count 3-2. What are you going to throw? What's the hitter going to look for? You can see Booney fastball. It's going to be a fastball.
2 outs.
Set up beautifully by the pitch before, the screwball that got Washington out on his front foot. Then he runs the count to 3-2. Goes the coming out in the late innings down the last half of the season.
Willie Wilson, he's 0 for 4. This crowd on its feet. You'll hear the reaction on every pitch. Ball. Mike Schmidt guarding the line, but he's moved in a step or two. Now he's drifting back. To count. 9th inning, 2 men out, nobody on. Philadelphia 7, Kansas City 6. 2 strikes.
You see the very calm Tug McGraw here, Joe, and you know him as well as I do. If he strikes Willie Wilson out, gets his last out, that's a very calm Tug McGraw. But underneath that, if he can get the 3rd out, watch him. He'll be as wild as the people in the stands.
The stands standing up. Listen to the crowd. They'll umpire it. They'll broadcast it for you. Foul ball. McGraw, very calm. Screwball. But as Tom Seaver just said, I guarantee he'll come off that mound. He'll be able to thread a sewing machine while it's running.
Tom, he tried to bust it by him inside. The outfield has moved a little bit deeper now to Wilson with his speed, and he can turn a single or a double into inside the park home run. We've seen him do it twice last year. Got to protect those alleys.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Top of the 9th, Philadelphia leading 7-6. Tug McGraw against Willie Wilson.